क्लास को अच्छे रहे. So today class will be covering mains paper 1, paper 2. So what all we covered till now? Thinkers we completed, remember? Me do completed. We supposed to start stratification and mobility. Online students, just check everything is okay. Audio, video. So probably today's class will be covering just overall analysis of sociology, mains paper 1 and paper 2. Did you see the paper? Obviously sir, black and white. And some white color paper. Some 3 pages, different words are given. Seen paper? Yes, so I posted in Telegram group. See in Telegram group there is sociology paper 1 and paper 2. But anyway, just to give a rough idea, if you remember what all we have covered till now in our regular class, industrialization, urbanization we covered, work and economic life we covered, then sociological thinkers. So from that, whatever we have covered till now, probably you can attempt all the questions. Whichever questions came from thinker chapter, whichever question came from work and economic life, industrialization, urbanization also. So one notable feature about sociology paper is that, as usual, almost 99% predictability. Why I am not saying exaggerating 100% predictability? Why sir? What is the reason? Somewhere current affairs dynamic can be expected. So if you are going to look at the question, you will understand. But 99% of the question paper is predictable. Predictable meaning, if you know the chapter, heading, subheading, themes, all that. Probably most of the questions you can predict. And in paper 1, this year, notable feature is that equitable and balanced question came from all the chapters. What do I mean by equitable and balanced from all the chapters? From the syllabus of all the chapters, if you look at sociology as science, so sociology as subject, research methods, sociological thinkers, stratification, mobility. Apart from that, if you look at work and economic life, politics and society, religion and society, marriage and kinship, social change. That is the syllabus copy. If you have seen syllabus copy is there, all the 10 chapters in the order. So try to look at from every chapter, they try to ask 2 or 3 questions. What does it mean? We cannot afford to leave out completely any chapter. That is the first lesson we have to learn. Equitable distribution and balanced questions from all. Meaning we have to understand that every chapter is important, every topic is also important. Why sir? You cannot afford to ignore a topic completely because that might come in a compulsory question in number 1 and compulsory question in number 5. That's the reason why we have to attempt or we have to learn. There should be a ready-made notes available for every topic, every heading, every subheading in our class notes, probably. And the first lesson. Second lesson that we have to learn, examiner is again interested in something called contemporary relevance. So this year also historical materialism and contemporary relevance. Of course we covered in the class notes also, remember? Historical materialism, there only we covered contemporary relevance of historical materialism. So maybe next time also, whenever you expect any thinkers topic, still the trend is continuing. Contemporary relevance, they might ask. Then one more notable feature, come on. One more notable feature is comparative study. So if you remember the paper, Durkheim, Weber, Marx, comparative study and religion. I'm going to explain. We are going to look at the question also. Comparative study. So contemporary relevance is one of the feature you have to observe, and comparative study of the thinkers. What I mean by comparative study of the thinkers, we need to understand that that particular topic or that particular work overall so whenever we look at contemporary relevance also important, plus look at this comparative study of the thinkers, meaning first you need to get a basic understanding of one by one After that, interlinking of one with the other. After that, overall comparative study. That's the reason why when you write sectional test on sociological thinkers, deliberately I'll be giving comparative study topic. Already last test also I gave comparative study topic. Remember? So, which means from sociological thinker chapter, when you are reading, you should keep in this mind. Also, questions are directly picked up from the syllabus only. From the syllabus, whatever lines are there, sociology, history, common sense, directly, because examiner is so cooperative. 99.9% of the questions are coming from syllabus only. But here and there, earlier, there used to be some bouncers. Here and there, earlier, there used to be some bouncers. Not all, maybe 1 or 2 questions, especially compulsory questions. But this year, paper 1 seems to be prepared by a functionalist, paper 2 seems to be prepared by a feminist. I don't know, by looking at the questions only I am saying. That is my understanding. So that's why, who is functionalist? Follow the regular conventional method. That's why regular conventional questions are asked. Who is a feminist? That's the reason why most of the questions are tilted towards women empowerment, women issues, so gender justice, all that. But anyway, that is my perception only. But those who have prepared reasonably well with good minimum knowledge and handwriting can attempt all the questions. But except structuring of the answer. Okay? So, and one more lesson we have to learn. Surprisingly, sustainable development was asked in paper 1 also. Same thing is repeated in paper 2 also. But how do we write answer in paper 1? By taking thinker's perspective. So, how, sir? Heard about dialectics? Heard about dialectics? So, while writing in paper 1 answer in sustainable development, you will bring up the dialectic theme. Because from thinker's perspective, idea, opposite idea, new idea, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. But when you come to paper 2, Indian example, you will quote real life case studies from Indian example. Green revolution, positives of green revolution, negatives of green revolution, new idea, you have a green revolution. Did you understand the theme? Theme is same. In paper 1, we are focusing on using thinkers framework. In paper 2, you are using it for real life case studies for Indian example. That's the only difference. So otherwise, most of the questions are easy only, predictable only, and we can guess also, probably. So after reading every topic, what we supposed to know? Look at all the previous year questions asked from that particular chapter. Second, so whichever questions are asked in the last 2-3 years, in that particular thinker or in that particular chapter, whatever is remaining topic that is expected for next year. Did you understand what I am saying? Look at the first paper, in first chapter. In the 2-3 subheadings are there. One heading is asked in this year. One more heading was asked in that last year. What does it mean? Whatever remaining heading is, that will come in the next year. That is called as analysis of previous year questions. Not that only to look at the question. We can guess, we can predict. And some surprisingly, most of the questions are in sync with syllabus only. Didn't have to go out of syllabus. But somewhere they linked that to the current update also. Okay? So, answer framework should be there in your notes. That's the reason why mostly your class notes is in sync with that only. Not, I would say, your class notes is not extremely high, not extremely low, but on par with exam requirement. But some cases extra also we covered, safe side only. Why, sir? If the questions are asked for mode, maybe we just should know, even we should not be able to leave out comparative study, contemporary relevance, current affairs themes, all that. Okay? So all of your paper with you? Yes? So if not, you can look at actually look at the Telegram group. Are you in Telegram group? Most of you? Unnara? Lera? చేసింటారు చూడండి లేదా సురేష్ ఇట్స్ ఓకే ఐ విల్ రీడ్ అవుట్ దెన్ దట్ విల్ బి గుడ్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీబడి క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నాయా సరిపోతుంది సో లుక్ అట్ పేపర్ 1 అండ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ నో దట్ పేపర్ 1 చాప్టర్స్ పేపర్ 1 10 chapters are there, syllabus copy there with you dear. See how you supposed to analyze previous year paper. If I were in your place, if I was rating next year UPSC means how you are supposed to analyze, because I don't know how to prepare. Okay, so what are the chapters which are mentioned? First, what is the first chapter? Sociology as discipline. So what is the second chapter? Sociology as science. So what is the third chapter? Research methods and analysis. So what is the fourth chapter? Sociological thinkers. Fifth chapter, stratification and mobility. So sixth, work and economic life. I think so. Yes, dear. Yes, work and economic life. Seventh, politics and society. So what is eighth? Religion and society. Just to get a rough idea from where the questions were scattered. So ninth, marriage kinship, system of kinship. Here only types of marriage, all that. Very good. So last, social change. Instrument of social change only. See, whenever you read papers, previous year papers, you should be able to remember from which topic, which subheading the question came. From which chapter, from which subheading question came. That is called as previous year question analysis, not finding out the answer. No. So now look at the first question in the paper. So what is the first question? I'll just give an outline only here, don't worry. What is common sense? How are common knowledge and sociology related to each other? Explain. The moment you look at the question, first you should remember which chapter from which it came. Look at the syllabus copy. In syllabus copy, common sense topic is there. In which topic? So first you know which chapter, from that chapter, which heading the question came. Probably first chapter or second chapter? First chapter. So in that there is a topic called common sense. So there, look at the demand of the question. 10 mark question only, short question. Now already we know. So what is the demand of the question, sir? Common sense. Look at the keywords. Apart from that, what else they are asking? What is common sense? So first you have to define what is common sense. How are common knowledge and sociology are related to each other? First is definition. Second is common knowledge and sociology. Even if I am not a sociology student, still I can write a good answer. But if I have studied thinkers, if I have studied the ideas, I can come up with a better answer. So what is common sense according to you? Outside a toilet, it is mentioned as women. So what does common sense says? Who's supposed to enter there? Only women? What if there is somebody who is neither man, who is somebody nor woman? For them separately it's not mentioned. But what does common sense says? Men supposed to go to men toilet, women supposed to go to women toilet. So why do you say that is common sense? How can you say that is common sense? See, it's not written in any law. Come on dear, is it written in any law? Men supposed to go to men toilet, women supposed to go to women toilet, nothing like that. But how do you know you're supposed to follow that? Commonly accepted behavior in a given situation, so that is in conformity with the society, is called as common sense. Common expected behavior in conformity with the socially accepted norms is called as common sense. Suppose a boy is going to a girl's toilet, what will happen? Case will happen. Definitely case will happen. It's against common sense, dear. Similarly, suppose a bus is running, it's not stopping. So will you try to running and catch the bus? Some stunts are being done, but otherwise what does common sense says? It is not safe. Let the bus completely get stopped, then you have to get in. So this is generalized definition of common sense. But let's come to sociological thinkers. So many people told about collectiveness, norms, traditions, conformity. So any 2-3 thinkers idea where we can quote common sense? Collectivity, very good. Collective consciousness, value consensus. Conformity, yes. What else we can link to? Social system, something called external, something called independence, something called sui generis, something called generality. General behavior only is called as common sense. So examiner is impressed with your answer. because you are not just using your common sense, you are using examiner common sense also to explain common sense. Common sense is explained from thinker's perspective. General behavior, which uncle said, from the perspective of social system. Correct only? Parsons social system, only 4 features are there. No? Durkheim? Durkheim? So it's okay. Any framework, it's okay. Any of thinker's framework, you quote it to explain common sense. Let me take an example of one. Value consensus. What's the meaning of value consensus? Based on majority of the accepted behavior, people are following. So again, you'll study a word called socialization. Come on, dear. Social action is explained by 3 thinkers. Oh my God. Social action is explained by 3 thinkers. So all that they are trying to say, that expected behavior you are supposed to follow. Apart from that, look at the word. Common knowledge and sociology. Scientific systematic study of social issues, society, social change is called as sociology. And common knowledge, there is a key word called socialization. So how do we get common knowledge in the society? What is the first place of socialization? After that, education. After that, occupation, work. So socialization is a continuous process. So common knowledge is passed on from one to other, in which scientifically we will study from sociological perspective. So I am just giving only broader perspective, what all must be there in the answer. Remaining are value addition is your choice. But what must be compulsorily mentioned in the answer only we are discussing, outline. So finally, how can you say common knowledge will lead to sociology, or common knowledge help in sociology? Traditions, customs, rituals, practices, rules, regulations, norms, expected behavior, endogamy, exogamy, caste, color, gender, region, religion, all these are passed on from one to other in the process. Common knowledge, when studied with sociological perspective, will become sociology. Common knowledge, when studied with sociological perspective, will become sociology. Marriage, simply going, eating and coming, common knowledge. Why 2 people got married to 1 girl? Sociological discussion. Okay? Why marriage was stopped in the middle of the marriage? Because dowry was not given. Sociological perspective. Despite love marriages are increasing in India, why? In love marriages only murders also are increasing. Sociological perspective. Sociological perspective. Common knowledge, as a common man you are looking at. When you look from specialized sociological perspective, why, what, how, when, where, and also solution, that becomes sociological perspective. So I am just giving a broader answer. Normal, how introduction is supposed to be, how body is supposed to be, conclusion supposed to be. But when we will get all this answer in the exam, how do we remember? For that to happen, first, for every micro topic, you should prepare a detailed notes in your class notes. Second, you should prepare a revised notes also. Third, you should prepare a mind map for each answer also. You should revise at least minimum 3 times. How many times, sir? 3 times. Not after the exam, before the exam. Not after the exam, before the exam. So then the framework will come in the answer. See, then the framework will come in the answer. The more we actually internalized, the more the better answer will come. So sociology is not about just by-hearting from some book or notes. It is about understanding and internalizing the question. So you will get a better answer. For the first time, who is writing? He will write a rough basic idea of definition of common sense, sociology definition, common sense definition, something like that. So after revising 1 or 2 or 3 times, the better answer will come. It will become a sociological example also. Now, I'll use this question to explain UPSC exam. What does common sense says? If exam will start at 10 o'clock means, what does common sense says? You should arrive to the exam hall before the time. That was common sense. If answer is good, what does common sense says to examiner? Minimum decent, no, don't write like the mains answer, but minimum decent marks supposed to come. So don't try to think that from some definition perspective or theory perspective, no. The more current you make it, the more live you make it, examiner will be impressed. Wow, come on, he's explaining common sense from common sense way. That's the reason why minimum common sense marks supposed to be given. So the choice is yours. I said minimum core structure of the answer. How will you make your answer more interesting? Diagram, chart, live examples, and so on. So common sense. Just to criticize, you can also quote RCB stampede. So if you are standing outside the gate, if you are able to see it that so much of crowd is pushing at a time, what does common sense says? Common sense, how does common sense wants? No, it's not safe. Don't get into inside, because look at the occupancy, look at the outside crowd which is not able to be controlled by the police. So common sense says. So Ganesh Emergent Day also, be careful. So what does common sense says? Sit in home and hostel and enjoy and dance and relax by live was. Or if you want to feel it, go in a time where the rush is comparatively less. Correct only? That's what common sense says. So common sense can be used to explain both positive ways also, negative ways also. Finally, we are saying common sense is most uncommon. That's why sociology studies common sense. Common sense is most uncommon. That's the reason why sociology studies common sense. Okay? Understood? I did not criticize. I balanced. Common sense is most uncommon. That's the reason why sociology studies what is common sense. Understood? So what is the common sense? To prepare for UPSC, cover all the syllabus, be ready with any type of question. That's what common sense finally prepares. Okay? This is rough idea of the question, but not much troublesome question, easy only. So look at the second question. I'm just trying to make you identify from which chapter, which topic the question came. What is the relationship between sociology and history in terms of their area of study and methodology? Now look at which chapter, which topic. Sociology comparison with some other subject. Regular repeated theme. Sociology, anthropology, sociology, philosophy, sociology, geography, sociology, all that. So in that, if you look at, so which, able to find out from which chapter? So if you look at from sociology as discipline, a comparative question. What is the comparative question? History and sociology. See, even if you are not a sociology optional student also, but if you are a sociology optional student, you can bring a better structured answer. Simply, what is meaning of history? Study of the past events of which we consider it as important to understand the past socio-economic religious conditions is called as history. What is sociology? Study of society from simple to modern, holistically from all perspectives, apart from historical perspective. Apart from historical perspective is called as sociology. Again, in history, we study some important events. We study some major events which are considered a watershed moment in the life of history. And in sociological study, what we are going to do? Impact of that on multiple dimensions. 1857 revolt causes all history. Socio-economic impact on Indian society because of 1857 revolt. Again, British ruled India for 200 years. History. After that, still colonial legacy is continuing in India. Impact of British rule on politics in India, society in India, culture of India, religion in India, education in India. So historical, political, economic, technical, legal, environmental, ecological, all. So in simple, you told scope of sociology seems to be comparatively more holistic towards than history alone. History you are studying only past. Sociology you are studying origin also, past also, present also, change also. Past also, origin also, impact also, present also, and expected change also, change that is happening also is studied in sociology. So finally link similarities also, differences also. So some of the methods which are used in history are also used in sociology. So what are the methods? Writings of somebody, referring to writings of somebody. What are called as writings of somebody else? You'll study in history. Some foreign travelers came to India, they have written something. In sociology also, one uncle is taking use of example of somebody else uncle. Correct only? Some tribe was taken example. Based on that tribe's totemism was explained by some uncle. I mean, if you remember any sociological thinker, quote it. Okay, history, this method was used. In sociology, this method is used. Apart from that, in history also, there will be a record of writings. In sociology, there will be record of writings for sociological research compilations. Remember suicide theory? Durkheim made record of compilation of data, all that. So some of the methods used in history are also used in sociology. Apart from that, how is sociology unique and different from history? A social phenomenon is understood not just only from one dimension but also from all other dimensions, causes also, impact also, change also, and continuity also. Continuity also we are studying here. In second paper, there is a direct question, impact of colonial legacy on Indian society. Direct syllabus itself is there. So what does it mean? We are not just studying only British rule. We are also studying impact right after independence to till now. It has been continuing. So finally you can quote, both are complementary to each other. How both are complementary to each other? Come on, one major thing, sociological thinker used the word history to explain sociology. Karl Marx said, history hitherto is class struggle. No? So what is Marx uncle? He says, you can study the social change through class struggle. You can study the social change through class struggle. And remember the quote, history hitherto is class struggle of haves and have-nots. Historical materialism quote you can tell. Historical materialism is used by Karl Marx to explain social change in the society, and he says class struggle, change the society, mode of production. It appears we are studying history or past, but actually is trying to understand social change. So which means the concept of history are the methods of the history. Similarly, you study something called numismatics in history, literature in history. So in sociology also we'll study not directly but indirectly to understand whether patriarchy was there, whether matriarchy was there, what type of worship was there. That is what we are interested in sociology. So history also we are studying in every kingdom. At the end of each kingdom chapter when we discuss, probably we'll be focusing on not only political history. We are focusing on social change also, religious change also, economic change also, cultural change also, trade also, all that. So briefly you can quote. Actually, for you syllabus is not yet over. That's why I am giving a broader generalized answer. So, but wherever we covered already topics, then I expect you the answer from sociology optional perspective, thinkers perspective, all that. Okay. Look at the third question. What is variable in social research? What are different types? Explain or elaborate. This also, hopefully you should be able to make out from which chapter, dear? Research methods. Research methods only. So there is something called research methods. In that research method, what is variable in social research? Research is matching. I mean, from which chapter at least you should be able to make out. Actually, we did not cover, but already we know from what already we discussed. What is the meaning of variable in society? Okay, something which is not static, something which is dynamic, which it can change is called as variable. Okay. So when different sociological thinkers are observing society, according to them, different sociological phenomenon is variables, which means it can change. Do you remember something called pattern variables? Pattern variables, able to remember? I'm just trying to explain from what we know only. So what does pattern variable says? While following the behavior, expected behavior, certain variables are identified. In the same situation, two people are put into a situation, the action will differ from individual to individual. So based on socialization process and all that. But question is about variable in sociological research. What is the meaning of variable in social research? If I give a question to you, I am putting a question to you and I am putting some weightage for that question in my research. And I am saying it's not fixed. It is subject to change. That is only is called as variable. Simple example. What should be the right age for marriage? I am giving this question to students like you. I am giving this question to parents age group. I am giving this question to old people. I am giving this question to just entered college students. Do you think answer will come same? It depends upon their urgency. I mean, different people according to their calculation, answer will come different. Probably if you give to a old people, they'll say, better don't marry at all. Now, probably if the people who are recently married, if you give to them, it's a wonderful life because they have seen only one part, second part they are yet to see. So, and those who are not married, those who are preparing, sir, why is this all this nonsense, sir? Let us study properly, sir. And maybe younger generation who are just in school, college or university, they say, no, it is either way suicide or murder, sir, not required, sir. So different people are giving different answer to a question called what is the suitable marriage age? Again, J.I. Jaitley committee recommendations, remember? What should the minimum marriage age? According to committee recommendation, for girls, it's suggested to increase marriage age from 18 to 21 years. Why do you think they're suggesting to increase? Female infanticide is more, IMR, MMR rates are very high, most of rural women are getting married at a very early age, and because of which anemia is more, that's the reason why they are suggesting. But what was the minimum marriage age earlier? 18 years. So what does it mean? The variable is changing. So I just give it a simple example, but you can use most complicated sociological thinkers also variable. So what is variable according to Karl Marx in sociological research? Material wealth, economic power. Very good. What is variable according to Max Weber? Power and authority. Very good. So what is variable according to Durkheim? So Parsons? Pattern variables. So when, see, look at, now you got the answer. Whenever you write answer by using sociological thinker, that becomes socially answer. Did you understand what I am saying? Even though we did not cover all the chapters, we are only using thinker's perspective to explain, to link to the topic. Actually, we'll cover in general. We'll cover even the broad introduction, conclusion also. So probably elaborate question only, nothing to worry. No need to write even criticism also. You can just end with the opinion. Look at fourth. Can Merton's reference group theory be relevant in understanding identity making in digital world? Explain. First, it is from thinker chapter only and Merton directly. But did you understand correct demand of the question first? Should you write everything about reference group? No, you should use reference group to explain what? Very good. Identity making in what? Digital world. So, now I expect you to give outline of the answer. So, what are the broad answer outlet template we supposed to refer? First, you have to define what is reference group. Which uncle suggested? They only helped Merton. So examiners really does not have any family problems. So Merton's reference group will decide. What else? Okay. Reference group, positive reference group, negative reference group, in group, out group. That is the theme. How do we link that to what is identity making in digital world? Have you heard something about deep fake? Have you heard something about deep fake? Have you heard something about proxy accounts? Cyber phishing? So in digital world, the original identity of the person may not be always known. It may be masked identity. What do you mean of masked identity? So social media influencers, some of them are using, suppose you become sociology topper, or suppose you become IAS, suppose you became UPSC topper. Unknowing to you, so many accounts are created in your name without your knowledge. So identity is faked. Identity is duplicated. Why are they creating that fake identity? Now nobody is creating your identity. You became IAS officer, dear. You became a reference group. You became a role model for positive. Negative also will be there. What is negative? Pushpa Fans Association. What's wrong in that? Pushpa Fans Association. They are available. Pages are available online. YouTube also, social media also, they are available, dear. They are available. So reference group can be positive, reference group can be negative, reference group can be positive perspective, reference group can be negative perspective. But in the digitalized world, it's very difficult to maintain the original identity because as of now, most of social media platforms and digital platforms are not linked to biometric data. That's what code said. Let's try to link Aadhaar with social media accounts. Not yet implemented anyway. Violation of privacy only. Don't worry, social media accounts are there. No need to link other data. So which means understand the demand of the question. So what was there in the mind of the examiner? Why did he ask this question? There are so many Supreme Court judgments with respect to social media accounts and privacy and violation. That's the reason why examiner used his brain and linked that to Merton's reference group. Now finally, do you think the original identity in the digital world can be protected? Right to privacy also? Which article, which fundamental right? 21. Right to life and personal liberty. Also you can quote value addition. What else you can quote in digital world? Identity? Yes. Also CERTIN. Heard about an organization called CERTIN? What is CERTIN? Computer Emergency Response Team. Nodal agency for cyber policing. A nodal agency, current affairs only. CERTIN. Computer Emergency Response Team. You can quote. What else? Digital detox. Have you heard about the word? Digital detox. What is digital detox? Keeping the children away from influence of the digital. So direct impact you can quote on the children. Children are speaking the language of the cartoons. Didn't understand? Too much screen time and they're referring their mother to a cartoon in a particular TV serial. Not so seriously. That's a greater impact right now on Indian children here. And the two kids are speaking cartoon language which nobody is understanding. So socialization, if you don't control the behavior at the right age for the children's identity is mistaken and is also leading to psychological resources, psychological problems also. So overall, rough sketch of the answer we are bringing up, but again we have to end with reference group. But reference group identity keeps on changing as the child is maturing from one state to the next level. Similarly in digitization also. Till they were in school, they did not have social media accounts. A reference group was something, their role model was something. Gradually they moved to higher level of educational institutions. A reference group changed, they got smartphone. And once they got smartphone, they have so much of digital access to the world. Obviously reference group will change. Reference group can be used even for explaining relative poverty also. How, sir? Instagrams. Hi friends, we purchased this latest car friends, 7-seater car friends, and some relatives are watching it, they are feeling they are deprived. See, reference group only. And somebody else is explaining reference group how to commit suicide. Option A. Not so seriously, they are available. Electrocution. Somebody have seen that and they got. So different innovative ideas to do crimes also are coming from digital world only. Digital world only. Hit 3 movie? Hit 3? I think so. Local boy Nani. So, I mean, hopefully. So the concept of reference group can be understood. Finally, conclusion. A reference group influence should be positive because how they're recruiting suicide bombers, they're recruiting terrorists, they're recruiting anti-national activities, all this how? Brainwashing through digital platforms only. Brainwashing through digital platforms only. Fake identity is created. Fake socialization is done. Fake world is created. So that is the intention of the demand of the question. You can come up with any quote or real life example. And finally, reference group should be used for positive purpose and for welfare of society. So how do we create positive reference group? Creating values through moral stories. Creating values through moral stories. Explaining norms and traditions and beliefs through AI generated images. Reference group only. See, if you are telling they are not listening, if I am telling they are not listening, but Bahubali is saying to a kid, come on kid, don't be naughty. So he is listening. Why? Bahubali is referring. Understood? So reference group can be used for positive purpose also, negative purpose also. It depends upon how the digital world is socializing. Examiner should be impressed by reading the answer. Come on, each select avali. So next, is the social stratification theory gender blind? Now actually we did not cover, but I'll give a brief reference. So it came from which chapter? Stratification and mobility. But already we know terminology. From terminology itself you can guess the question. So what is the moral of the question? Stratification theory. So what is the meaning of stratification? Studying the society from various layers of the society: poverty, equality, inequality, hierarchy, power, caste, color, gender, region, religion. Stratification means identification of different differences in the society. Different people gave different reasons. Different sociological thinkers gave different reasons for stratification. But the quotation of the theory, actually once you study in regular class, you can take use of the sociological stratification theories also given by the thinkers. So many thinkers are there, but broadly we know functionalists will support the status quo, conflict will criticize the existing system. So broadly we can come to the sociological thinkers theory and look at the second part. Gender blind, what does it mean? These theories are not able to explain gender inequality in the society, which means the core theme of the question is that these theories are trying to explain why poverty is there, why inequality is there, why economic differences are there, why political differences are there, why social differences are there. But blind, what does it mean blind? They are not able to see it. So social stratification theories that you study in the thinkers, they are not able to explain the reasons for gender inequality, or they overlooked, or they ignored, or they did not concentrate much. That is the core demand. Do you understand what is the meaning of the question? Okay, you studied inequality, you studied difference in power, you studied socialization problems, you studied various differences in the society. But in these theories, they are not able to focus on identifying gender inequality. And you have to give the reasons, one or two examples. Now look at what are the main reasons for power unequal distribution among various people. Power and authority. So, and some theory comes and says, power elite theory, power is circulated only among some elite sections of the society always. But why these thinkers are not able to explain power is not available to women? You are telling power elite theory also says power is circulated only among some certain sections of the people in the society. But they are not able to explain why power is not given to women. Patriarchal mindset. So theme of the question is, okay, you studied so many inequalities and so many differences in the society, but why you ignored main fundamental inequality called gender inequality? Maybe a feminist prepared the question. Need not be feminist also, but just is expecting from that dimension. Now one more I'll give. Representation of women in parliament. From Indian case study only you can quote. Percentage of women in civil services, to make our answer more lively. And yes, representation of women in judiciary. And why only men should get arrested? Why not women? Percentage of criminals in women also. Women empowerment. So why this sociological stratification theories are not showing that much interest in explaining gender inequality? That's the meaning of the question. See, already we know sex and gender. Biological inequality is sex, sociological inequality is gender. So socialization process creates stereotype about the gender behavior. That's the reason why gender inequality is still continuing. Unless the behavioral change happens, the problem of gender inequality cannot be addressed. What does it mean, behavioral change? The way women are portrayed, the way women are understood, the way the mental construct about the woman is formed in the mind of the man. What did you say, sir? The moment a boss is lady boss, how the people are reacting it? Why their male ego is not accepting female to accept? So theme of the question from theory's perspective, thinker's perspective, stratification from perspective. So actually we are going to study, tomorrow only we are going to start the topic, equality, inequality, poverty, deprivation, hierarchy. Each of them thinkers' theory is there. So but all these theories are overlooking why equality is not available for women. So in ancient history also will quote, ancient historical time, there was gender equality actually. There was no differences between men and women. Slowly they introduced Vedas should be taught only to women. Women should not be given to, or women should not be given opportunity to rule. Slowly differences started. Differences got stratified in the society. So you can quote, patriarchal mindset is the reason why. Also, despite impressive economic growth, cultural lag exists in Indian society even right now. What do you mean of cultural lag? Economically we are getting improved, but we are not in a position to accept boy and girl as equal psychologically. So Punjab and Haryana, economically well developed, but lowest sex ratio, cultural lag. So try to use sociology terms in the answer. That becomes sociology answer. That's all. So anything you can quote, but these theories we are going to cover. Anyway, we did not even touch the stratification chapter. I am just trying to explain only from general perspective. Tomorrow only we are going to start the chapter, stratification and mobility. Each of the theory thinkers, then to make answer more visible, you can make a table. Theory, main core idea, and how gender equality is not touched upon by them. Maybe 4 or 5 theories, core idea, how gender equality is not touched upon them. So answer will become more visible. Okay, power elite theory. It talked about only power circulation among some people, it ignored women. Inequality theory. It talked about only economic inequality, it did not talk about gender inequality. Hierarchy theory. It talked about only among some classes, but it does not talk about gender inequality. Urban class, middle class, lower class. You are only talking about class, but you are not talking about specific stratification called gender. So maybe we can make the table once our stratification mobility is done. Probably, luckily, all questions can be attempted. All compulsory questions. When coming to second question, what is positivism? Critically analyze the major arguments against it. Expected lines only, because earlier structural functionalism question was asked. That's the reason why this year positivism is asked. See, look at in which chapter it is there. Look at in which chapter, paper 1, first or second. Look at the headings and subheadings. So earlier structural functionalism was asked, so this year positivism is asked. So next year what can be expected? Non-positivist approach. That is what is analysis. Now anyway, still we did not cover this, but already from what we know, what is positivism? So then what is the difference between functionalism and positivism? So explain something through from cause and effect. Heard about cause and effect? So what is the meaning of cause and effect? See, it's a psychology concept and philosophy concept. Positivism is actually a philosophy concept. What does this concept say, sir? Scientifically, you have to study knowledge is gained through logical reasoning and experience of the senses. Positivism is a philosophy concept which says knowledge is gained through logical reasoning and through experience of the senses. So this method is called as positivism. So to understand society also, as he said, reason, logical reason and observation through senses, you study society. Of course, positivism we did not cover, functionalism we covered, conflict theory we covered, but sir, what does it mean? Observation, empirical evidence, application of scientific methods. So it tries to connect natural, social, and it does not want to explain through some abstract. It wants to explain through some logic and reason. Simple example to understand. Why in India there is regional disparities? Why in India there is regional disparities? One of the explanation given is that karma theory. One of the explanation given is karma theory. God created like that. That's the reason why some states are developed, some states are not developed, some are rich, some are poor. Does it give the actual reason, logical reason? No. So how a positivist will study? Decentralization of development did not happen. Decentralization of development did not happen. Equitable distribution of resources did not happen. imbalanced industrialization, urban-rural divide, and geographical reasons. Certain areas are located in a disadvantaged location, vulnerable for natural calamities. Rain shadow area will study something. So he's trying to explain logically why that particular area is backward. Instead of giving some unknown, unscientific explanations, give a logic reason. Try to explain that. Try to explain social change and social phenomenon with a logic and reason. Not only from positive perspective, but also from overall logical reasoning. That is the emphasis of the question. Now, after maybe first 3 chapters, I purposely kept at the end. First 3 chapters will be covering toward the end. Why do you think so? By that time we know everything. Then we'll understand what is there, the small part. So correct way to study the first 3 chapters are not now. After completing everything, then you have to come back to first 3. Because you know holistic complete knowledge, then you'll be able to understand what they are saying. It becomes easy only. Easy question. So go back to next. So look at the next question. Come on. This is direct question only. So what is the direct question? Highlight the main features of historical materialism as proposed by Marx. How far is this theory relevant in understanding contemporary societies? Explain. Refer to class notes. Correct only? So, but yet again, direct question only we covered. So, come on. Because this is already covered from our syllabus. So, you should be able to explain the outline. What all you must mention? Yes. Historical materialism mentioned by Karl Marx in his book. Very good. He tried to explain social change through historical materialism. What is historical materialism? Core theory. Economic structure will bring the change in social structure. Very good. History hitherto is a class struggle of haves and have-nots. So in various societies, how the change will happen? Remember the various societies? One will lead to the other. Remember? Correct. So code the diagram from one society to other society, how conflict is happening, change is happening. So remember any type of societies which Marx said? Primitive communism, Asiatic mode of production. No. Last we have to mention. That is only not part of the cycle. That's only his observation. So primitive society, primitive communism. After that, ancient mode of production. After that, feudalistic only. After that, capitalistic, socialistic, and advanced. Something called futuristic only, socialism and communism. So in his just one diagram you have to mention historical materialism, stages, classes, conflict, change that is happening. But look at the second part. You have to divide the answer both. What is the second part of the question? Relevance. So contemporary relevance. That's the reason why for every thinker also we covered in our regular class. So what are the contemporary relevance? 2-3 reasons. How will you explain? Present Israel-Iran, present Russia-Ukraine war, present political instability. How can you explain through historical materialism? How can you experience through? How can you explain? How can you explain the present wars through historical materialism? History repeats itself. First has tragedy, then as farce. Correct only? So why do you think wars are happening? Economic dominance. Correct. Economic dominance will actually lead to political dominance. Economic power is changing. Political power and other geopolitics also. Apart from that, you can quote. What else? Relevance. What is called as third world country? What is called as non-alignment movement? What is called as Cold War? Some idea is there? In international relations, why do we join in some political blocks or economic blocks? What is the reason? So you can rely to all these examples and tell, look, historical materialism of Karl Marx idea is used. Why, sir? Your economic interest. That's the reason why you are joining in a political bloc, multilateral bloc. So why you become part of some group? For your interest, collective interest. That's the reason why. See, what was the trigger point for Russia-Ukraine war? Obviously. So which means they wanted to join NATO. So how is it problem for Russia? So which means ultimately your own national security, your own economic interest, your own political interest. That's the reason why you want to join some part of the group, you are rejecting some group, you are going against a particular group. So in fact, Elon Musk also commented, the most populated country in the world, India, does not have permanent membership in United Nations Security Council. Yes? Probably once India becomes economically powerful, we might not get it, we might take it. What do you mean by it? మనకు కావాల్సింది కొట్టు తీసుకోవాలి అంతే, కొన్ని నమ్మేయాలి డ్యూట్ కట్అవుట్ చూసి. So probably if India becomes economically powerful, obviously political power also will come here. So historical materialism relevance. Now explain India-Pakistan relations through historical materialism, especially wars. Pakistan is promoting proxy war in India. Why? To make India economically weak. True only. So choice is yours. What all innovative ideas you will bring, that is your choice. Now look at politics inside India also. Look at extremism, Naxalism, Maoism. And why only some two families have to get into power in every time in some states? Okay? So history repeats itself means what? After World War I, again what happened? World War II happened. After Great Economic Depression, again what happened? 2008-9 subprime crisis happened. After pandemic of COVID-19, what is going to happen again? Pilla COVID-19 is going to come. I mean, some other in different form. But all are, see, even COVID-19 also you can explain through historical materialism, because all the countries globally became economically weak. And it is believed to be somebody's loving act. It is believed to be somebody's loving act. In some lab they developed, it seems. We do not know, but we do not know. Bio warfare, cyber warfare, all this ultimately leads to one, economic power. So historical materialism relevance, choice is yours. Telisin chota rechipovodame. I mean, whichever answer you are excellently, you know the answer, you have to convey all that to the examiner, all the quoting examples. After that, compare capability deprivation approach with that of social capital deprivation in understanding chronic poverty. Anyway, not, that is only the question? Oh, okay. Before, one more question is there. Okay. What do you understand, what do you mean by reliability? Discuss the importance of reliability in social science research. Again, research topic, reliability. Now, some of the criticism in sociological thinkers, we said theories are not testable, theories are not reliable. Why theories are not testable? Why theories are not reliable? The data collection mechanism itself is wrong. Finally, result also is wrong. Or, as he said, they are not tested practically. So reliability is very much important, because based on some assumptions and presumptions, you cannot make some grand theory. Empiricality should be there, evidence should be there, testability should be there, and the data sampling also should be realistic. Then the social research will become realistic. Should there be optional, or should we remove the optional? Should there be optional UPSC exam, or should we remove the optional? Sir, we are taking coaching, sir. We are preparing, sir. With so much love and interest, we are studying, sir. Whom should we ask? Whom UPSC should ask before taking any reform? Aspirants like you, golden IAS officers, IPS officers in future. And the sample should be such a way that really those who are preparing right now, we should ask. So they will tell, yes sir, don't remove but increase the marks. So also give choice, no compulsory questions. Maybe, see, when you ask the correct sample, reliability of the data also will be good. Also we are following the methods in research methods, direct, indirect, sampling, questionnaire, different methods are there. So in all the sociological research methods, the data is more comprehensive, and the realistic reliability also will be more. So in sociology, not only theory is important, but also reliability of the theory is also very much important. Because in most of the criticism, we said sociological theory seems to be abstract, it seems to be not testable in the field, and it appears to be armchair theory. Remember? What do you mean of armchair theory? You did not go and visit the field. You just have written in your own chair some theory. That theory is not testable, not reliable. Again, link one or two sociological thinkers' theory and tell, look, it is reliable, that's why it is valid, explanation is considered. Look, this theory is not so testable, not so reliable, that's why it is considered less practical compared to other. Choice is yours. Both you can quote. If you say something, is it reliable? If I say something, is it reliable? But officially, if a government officer in press conference says, is it reliable? Yes, that is meaning of reliability in sociological research. Okay? So you are telling an astrology, tomorrow flood is going to come, flood is going to come, flood is going to come. What is the reliability? Friend said earthquake will come, earthquake will come. But IMD forecasted and Bharat forecasting system and official warning is given. Even then it may not come. Even then it may not come here. Sociological theories are subjected to 100% accuracy will not be there. Probability will be there. Reduce the deviation. That's the reason why make it more reliable. So I'm just giving general explanation only, nothing to worry. Look at next question. After that, compare capability deprivation approach with that of social capital deprivation in understanding chronic poverty. Economy also is overlapped here. See, poverty is explained from economic deprivation. That is one aspect. Poverty is explained from social deprivation, Human Development Index of Amartya Sen. Remember? Don't only consider per capita expenditure per day. Don't only consider per capita income per day. Don't only consider basic income and expenditure, but also consider access to healthcare, access to education, access to standard of living, life chances, multidimensional poverty index, national multidimensional poverty index. So poverty is explained not just only from economic deprivation, poverty is explained from social deprivation, accessibility to life chances, accessibility to living conditions, accessibility to welfare measures, accessibility to basic services. This is stratification chapter only. Still we did not cover stratification chapter, but what is essence of the question is that capability deprivation means how much they can spend, per capita income, per capita expenditure. World Bank definition, $2.15 per capita expenditure per day. So remember relative poverty definition? What is relative poverty definition? Even the basic needs are satisfied by looking at somebody else, comparing with others, all that. But what is Human Development Index of Amartya Sen uncle says? Access to healthcare, access to education, access to living standards, accordingly estimate. Don't estimate poverty only from economic dimension, estimate poverty from social dimension. And Buddha's definition, people who have least number of desires, they are the richest people in the world. People who have highest number of desires, they are the poorest people in the world. Poverty anywhere is a problem to prosperity everywhere. Correct only? So take knowledge of all economy and try to quote. So poverty has to be understood from not only from economic dimension but also from social dimension also. Poverty leads to unemployment, unemployment leads to poverty, vicious cycle. Okay? Finally you can quote and say that government should focus on welfare policies not only from understanding poverty from economic dimension but also from social dimension. And you can quote Niti Aayog, recent reports, data driven policy approach, all that. It's stratification chapter. Next question, if you look at, are pressure groups a threat to a necessary element of democracy? Explain with suitable illustrations. Can we make out broad heading, politics and society? Can we make out broad heading, politics and society? Role of pressure group. So what is a pressure group? All India SC Reservation Association, All India SC Reservation Association, National Commission for Women. So what is a pressure group? Group of people collectively are forming an association for protecting their own interest, which is trying to create a pressure on the policy making. That's why that is called a pressure group. Now, how did you think that Supreme Court gave a judgment that sub-classification of reservation for? So was there any pressure group? Were there any pressure groups? Yes, very good. How did you think that OBC reservation, EWS reservation came? EWS reservation came without much pressure group only because of vote bank politics. But OBC reservation also, pressure group was there. So many caste associations are there. So fundamental right. Which fundamental right is talking about right to form associations? So it is a pressure group. How is the pressure group? So suppose a simple example. Association of the employees. How is it a pressure group? But question is specifically about in democracy the role of the pressure group, which means the government is doing something wrong. So accountability, transparency, bring pressure on them. So best example you can quote. So many civil societies organizations came in support of incident in West Bengal. Some incident happened in West Bengal, all of you know. So everybody knows that justice is not done to them. Everybody knows, including the judge who gave judgment also knows. So what civil society organizations are trying to do? Trying to pressure. They try to create as much pressure as possible to ensure justice. See, it may have happened to one family today. It may happen to anyone tomorrow. So, which means pressure groups are exercising a kind of constraint while making a policy, so that they keep in mind the collective bargaining of the people. But everything that pressure group is asking, can government decide the policy? Practically not possible. Pressure group may be positive, pressure group may be negative. Pressure group may be creating positive opinion, pressure group may be creating negative opinion also. And pressure group may be used for vote bank politics also. Pressure group will be used to create opposite also. Both are possible. In elections you will see paid news, media, social media. So All India Jagananna Association, All India Vijayashanti Fans Association. Maybe, who knows? So pressure group can be NGOs, civil society, charitable trust, but all the pressure groups are not actually functional to the society. So many pressure groups are, in the name of the pressure group, are actually different identities. Popular Front of India, heard about one organization? It was registered as a social service organization, but is involved in anti-national activities. Actually, it was recruiting terrorists. So pressure group is a general word. We'll study in polity, but we'll study it separately in politics and society. Question was specifically, pressure groups are a threat or necessary element, meaning why pressure group is required. Positives you have to list out. How pressure group is a threat, in what way negatives of the pressure group, meaning one table positives required for democracy, one table negatives, and finally balanced answer. Not all pressure groups are threat to society, not all pressure groups are essential, but it depends upon. That's why government also publishes watch list over pressure groups, and certain pressure groups are banned by government. So one of the best example you can quote, FCRA license. What is FCRA? Indian civil society organizations, Indian charitable trust are getting funds from abroad. They are supposed to get FCRA license by MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs. So some of them misuse the funds. Some of them created protest against our own developmental plans. That's the reason why government blocked them. There are so many. Greenpeace. So recently something called Vision Eye. So there are so many things. You can quote all this current affairs example also. Easy only, but we did not cover the chapter, but still we get some answer. What is hypothesis? Critically evaluate significance of hypothesis in social research. Again, coming back to which chapter? Research methods. What is hypothesis? If you study well, you might get selected for civil services. Based on some attained observations, through cause and effect explanation, we are expecting it to happen. That's why that is called as hypothesis. So when you are carrying umbrella along with you, what is the hypothesis? It may rain. But wherever we get umbrella, it will not rain. Hypothesis is subject to testing. All women are generally innocent. Not necessarily. Women only are saying, I am not saying it. So, all men are good. No, definitely not. Both are wrong hypothesis. So, easy question only. Now, what did we learn from this till now? Don't ignore any chapter. Don't ignore any heading and subheading. That is the moral of the story till now. Not that we know the answer, not that we have tried, but moral of the story is don't ignore any chapter, don't ignore any heading and subheading. Because sometimes we are so lucky, whichever we ignore, from that only more questions will come. Because our luck is like that always. So next come to fourth. Give an account of recent trends of marriage in the Indian context. How are these different from traditional practices? This is a perpetual question. For last 20 years questions are being asked. Because examiner is also influenced by marriage and kinship. Don't know what marriage problems he is going through. So that's the reason why. Regularly repeated question. Try to understand why this question was asked. Why do you think this question was asked? Look at the demand of the question. Traditional practices of marriage versus new changes in the marriage. Sologamy was performed. A girl married herself. She tied her own knot. 2 boys got married to 1 girl. Same-sex marriages. That's the reason why question is asked. Perpetual question. Regularly for the last 20 to 25 years question is being asked. The trend. But look at the theme of the question. Give an account for the recent trends of marriage in Indian context. Even the question is paper 1, but specifically they're asking about Indian context. What are the recent trends you observed in Indian context? Extravagant marriages. What do you mean of extravagant marriages? Show off. What else? Intercaste marriages are increasing. Love marriages are increasing. I don't know. Maybe. Correct. Marriage is getting delayed. Marriage is getting delayed. Endogamy, exogamy rules to be little bit became liberal. What do you mean of endogamy, exogamy rules? Within the same caste, within the same caste, within the subcaste, all that. What else you observe? Divorce will come after marriage, dear. So, what else? Observe latest trend. True only. Marriages are not for lifelong like earlier. Earlier we used to consider marriage as sacred and legally accepted for welfare of society, for generational wealth, for having progeny, all that. Now marriage is used as a convenient tool. That quotation we can quote. A girl married 17 boys and on all of them section 498 cases. I mean, only one case. Not all women are like that.
Sir, was married 42 girls.
See, counter argument. This also you have to quote. Counter argument. This also you have to quote. Correct. So what she said is also correct. A man married 42 women. What else? In Indian context, marriages. Killing partners in honeymoon. So see, that is not the. See, you can quote latent and manifest function. Remember? See, question is Indian context only. But to make a sociological answer, what you can say? Intended functions of the marriage, unintended functions of the marriage. So we are trying to explain the same causes only, positives also negative from thinker's perspective. Then that becomes a paper 1 answer. That becomes a paper 1 answer. What all we discussed? Positives, negatives, latent function, manifest functions, and finally look at this aspect. See, if a marriage is being performed, DJ will be there, Sangeet will be there, dance will be there, singing will be there, and nobody knows what actually Pantalu is chanting. Declining importance of religious traditional practices. And in the name of wedding shoot, God knows. God knows. No comments. No comments. What all they are doing, they only know. We don't know. So look at, that is the core demand of the question. Traditionally sacred, traditionally symbolic, traditionally religious, traditionally something which is considered to be unique is missing in the modern day because of ostentatious culture. So some newspaper headlines, Amazon founder, some wedding ceremony in some, where? Venice only? I think Venice. In Venice only he planned. So you can quote, destination wedding culture is increasing. So Goa destination, huh? So you can quote all this. But question is generally only, but importance of the question is, traditional practices are declining. In the place of that, show-off culture, ostentatious culture, modern culture is increasing. And dowry element also. More dowry, more status symbol in the Indian society right now. Even though Dowry Act prohibits taking anything above 5,000 rupees. Taking anything above 5,000 rupees. What are you talking, sir? For 5,000 rupees, not even dress will come, sir. But again, so now ideal marriage system and ideal original traditional study in history, the rituals that used to be done for 3 days, 4 days, vratam, 7 days, all that, now modern couple are not interested in all this. So they are more interested in after marriage rather than marriage. So leave it. But that's overview of the entire concept of marriage. Then next, what would you identify as the similarities and differences in elite theories of Mosa, Michels, and Pareto? Discuss main and crucial issues. Anyway, this is from politics and society only. Power circulation, power elite theory. So comparative study, we did not cover, but you can focus on similarities and differences of elite theory. See, in every section, who is deciding a major decision making? Some elite population only. Did you decide Operation Sindoor? Did I decide Operation Sindoor? Who decided Operation Sindoor? Some elite people sitting somewhere. So, political decision, economic decision, social decisions, all changes are decided by whom? Elite classes. But in history, you'll study, for every king and queen, there used to be some prime minister council, advisory council, clergy class, wazir, something like that. Ancient history, middle history, modern history. Some type of people will be there. So modern society is also power elite theory says it may be economic elite, it may be political elite, it may be social elite, it may be intellectual elite. In world history, you'll study something called first estate, second estate, third estate. So power elite. Elite people can be economically, politically, socially, culturally also. So who is cultural elite in Indian caste system? Varna system, class system, priest system, Brahmins. So that is the general theory. So it is talking about specifically hierarchy. The question came from hierarchy, stratification and mobility. There, different layers of the society in terms of power, how they were arranged. So then critically analyze sociological significance of informal sector in economy of developing societies. Work and economic life. Direct question from informal sector. So what is informal sector? Which is non-formal sector is called as informal sector. No fixed rules, no fixed working hours, no social security benefits, not registered, not taxed. 90% of India's population is working in informal sector. And then significance. Critically analyze sociological significance. How is it significant? Livelihood for many people. It supports the formal sector. It supports the formal sector. Look at IT hub. Nearby IT hub only so many informal businesses are there. Look at Ashok Nagar. So many informal businesses. Employment opportunities for unskilled population. Employment opportunities, alternate source of income. Also complementary. So it accommodates so many people which agriculture was not able to accommodate. Because agriculture seasonal employment, disguised employment is more. And informal sector is right now becoming more popular because of so many digital platforms. Blinkit, Zepto, gig workers also we can quote. So this is story, work and economic life chapter, 10 marker question only. Now look at the fifth compulsory. In what way is the scope of sociology unique? Again, so from which chapter they're asking the question? And the theme of the question is unique, which means you have to write in support of specially sociology. So in brief, so even though we did not cover the syllabus, but try to understand how is sociology different from whatever you studied till now. Okay, sociological observation. What else? Okay, understand the problem holistically from the cause and effect and offer solution also. Very good. What else? Sociological research and data and testability. Yes. Uniqueness of sociology they're asking. Social change is observed. Social change is observed not only from holistically, macro perspective and micro perspective, and together sociology will study. What is macro perspective? Collectivity. What is micro perspective? Individual. Combination of both of them will help in understanding social change. What else? Sociology offers unique combination of lower level theories to grand level theory to mid level theories to explain all the social problems. What else? Seems to be understanding the dynamics of the society. Accepted. So one line from one chapter. One line from one chapter. That is the uniqueness of sociology. Understood? Safest answer when you don't know the answer. Safest answer when you don't know the answer. It observes change in politics and society from sociological perspective. It observes religion and society from sociological perspective. Not only understand collective belief, but also individual belief, but also change in the belief system. So one line from one. But ultimately sociology is explaining broadly society, how it was, how it is, how it is going to be. How it was, how it is, how it is going to be, and what factors are influencing social change. Political factors, economic factors, social factors, cultural factors. But the question is unique of sociology, which means what sociology studies, what others are not studying. So compared to other scope, sociology scope is ever widening, ever increasing, because several sociological thinkers clubbed static with dynamic. New models are evolved in which we are just, you can code the work, agile framework, adaptability, goal, something like that. So just to make sociology answer. Similarly, different framework of the thinkers are studying static also, dynamic also. So sociology will provide all the overall understanding. Easy question only, direct question only. Look at next. Does the structural functionalist perspective on social stratification promote a status quo? Give reason for your answer. Stratification we did not cover, but combination question. See, this is a new trend we have to observe. What is the meaning of combination question? Studying thinkers' perspective to understand social issue. So social issue is stratification, and stratification theories only we are going to get this. Conflict, functionalist, positivist, all that. From whose perspective you have to understand? Structural functionalist perspective. So, but already we know who is called as a functionalist, who is called as structural functionalist. No, there is no need to change the existing structure. Existing structure is good, status quo, let's continue it. It has adaptability. It has adaptability. See, Marx said we have to change the structure. We have to dethrow the structure because the existing structure is not so good and he does not want to accept status quo. But functionalists are accepting structure. We need not dethrow the structure. We just have to provide adaptability to the structure. Structure will change. And stratification. So stratification means various types of inequalities in the society, or you can say poverty, hierarchy, power, and so on. But look at the question part, try to understand correctly. Does the structural functionalist perspective on social stratification promote a status quo? Meaning, do you think that they don't want the change to happen? They want the present system only to continue? Structure will continue, but it has the adaptability. So according to the adaptability, change will happen, but need not completely throw the structure. So use Agile framework to explain Indian society. Adaptability, goal attainment, integration, latency function. So take example of caste system. So caste system, try to explain from functionalist perspective. How is it good? Collectivity, cooperation, sense of belongingness. But there are some evils in caste system also. So that's why Article 17. What is Article 17? We did not abolish caste system. Look at the word. We did not abolish the caste system. We abolished untouchability. So what does it mean? Caste system is continuing, but its dynamics are changing. So forced labor, beggar is prohibited. Bonded labor is prohibited. So caste inequalities are still continuing. However, the caste is continuing in the society, but caste and class are both changing. So in the modern day, caste and class both are reinforcing each other, but caste is still continuing. So it's a functionalist perspective, but you can say in the existing status quo there might be some negatives also, that negatives are subject to change according to changing conditions. Finally, you have to write what is functionalism, what is structural functionalism, how they support the status quo, how they study from positive perspective. Structural functionalists are those who start studying from positive perspective. So they are not looking at conflict. They feel conflict will be resolved. They feel conflict will be resolved, so no need to dethrow the system, no need to dethrow the structure. That's the meaning of the question. Still we did not cover stratification, so there we are going to cover this. Do you think that the formal workspaces are free of gender bias? Again, some feminist only, but work and economic life, formal workplace. Remember, already we covered in detail. But the question seems to be focused on, in workspaces, is there a gender bias? Meaning the other way to understand, free of gender bias means gender equality, is it available in the formal workplaces? What do you mean of formal workplaces? Government, private, registered, all. Do you think there also gender discrimination is there, or relatively gender discrimination is not there? Okay, what else? Promotions, high level positions, hierarchy, distribution of power. So don't always judge a person's capability based on gender. You have to perform, or you have to look at their performance and capabilities. But still, top level positions are dominated by men. Still, top level positions are dominated by men. What else? Can you quote any Supreme Court recent judgments about women role in armed forces, women role in NDA exam? Recently, first women battalion came out. Yes, you can quote. So formal only, formal nature of the work only, to make our answer more lively and current affairs examples. What else? Percentage of women who are CEOs. So if you remember any specific recent, even you can quote the people who led our Operation Sindoor, also women. Sophia Qureshi, Yomika Singh, I think so. Yes, empowerment of women is empowerment of nation. Even in formal sector also, women are not free completely from gender bias. However, relatively it is better, because equal pay for equal work is available in formal sector, and maternity benefits are available for women, social security benefits are available for women. But still, patriarchal attitude and patriarchal mentality is not accepting women equally that of men. However, there is a change now in formal sector. Life chances are available for men also, women also. So finally you can quote. But answer is, it's not completely 100% free from gender bias. So you can quote sexual harassment at workplace, safety of women at workplace, and increasing crimes on women at workplace, all that. So if you see, some of the states, they did not give promotion to women in police forces only because they are women to the higher level positions. They are eligible to become SP, they are eligible to become DIG, they are eligible to become some next level position in the armed forces. Only reason they did not give promotion is because that person is gender. Formal nature only we are talking about. So you can quote. These are examples. Finally you can tell. This is direct question only. We covered in class also, if you remember. Then how does Weber's Westerhen address the objectivity-subjectivity debate in sociology? Now look at this. I'll expect you, because already we covered. Remember Max Weber? Remember Westerhen? So what is the meaning of Westerhen? Interpretative understanding of social actions is called as sociology. And while observing something, the observer should be free from values. They should maintain value neutrality. So value neutrality means what? Objectivity. Value neutrality means objectivity. And a different social action should be understood and interpreted from different contexts, so that you will get a better idea. That's called as Westerhen method. But look at the question. How does Weber's Westerhen addresses objectivity-subjectivity debate in sociology? This means he is trying to say, Sociologists should not be biased while observing the society. Keep your values aside while maintaining sociological research. Social action should be studied through Western method, interpretative understanding. Keep yourself in the shoes of the actor when action is performed and try to interpret it. You will get a better understanding. But in criticism also we have written, no sociologist 100% completely objective. While choosing the research topic also, his selection is towards some value system. 100% value neutrality is not possible, but as far as possible, so bias should be reduced, value orientation should be curtailed, so social research will become objective. Social research will become objective. So a woman is studying about role of men in harassment of women. She can select a topic of her choice, but she should keep aside her values and prejudices aside. Holistically, she has to give a report. So you can quote any study, you can quote any recent relevant example, and you can tell. Role of women in civil services. Reservation of women in politics. So that should be studied without any bias. So objectivity, subjectivity, 2-3 lines you can quote. Westerhan, Weber, definition of sociology and value neutrality, and you can give 3-4 examples. Apart from that, this we covered. So it's in thinker chapter only. To what extent can education and skill development be an agent of social change? Critically analyze. This is from 10th chapter. We can see it. Social change is there in that education and skill development. Education is most powerful weapon to change the world. One of the quotes. No? Look at paper 1, some chapter is there, social change. Which one? Question. Education, to what extent can education and skill development be an agent of social change? See, theme of the question is, try to explain with a region, education and skill development will bring social change. We just have to use sociological words. Education provides social mobility. Education provides empowerment. Education reduces social disparities. Education addresses existing structural inequalities. Education tries to provide life chances for ensuring equitable distribution of resources. Intergeneration inequality, intra-generation inequality will be addressed. And education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. Quoted by Nelson Mandela. End of education is character. Purpose of education is formulation of a personality and skill development. Not just education, education with skill development will provide them livelihood, will provide them living and better chances, better life opportunities, better social mobility. Social mobility will help not only for the person but also. So if you catch a person from poor family, educate him properly, provide him necessary skill, not only poverty of one generation, poverty of 3 generations is eradicated. So education is instrument of social change. Skill development is instrument of social change. That's why Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, National Skill Development Mission. Okay. So finally, education, can you link to inclusive growth? Can you link to sustainable development goals? So that is your creativity. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Vishwas is possible through education. And education and skill development also helps in achieving sustainable development goals. Eradication of poverty, eradication of hunger. Finally, examiner should read and understand, wow, he is very well educated, he should get selected. Education and skill development as an agent of social change. So logically this year education and skill development came. So next year science and technology as agent of social change. Need to understand? Or last year if you look at which agent of social change came, so opposite will come. Probably you can guess. Easy only. Next look at, but how do you make a sociology answer? By using sociological terms. What is science? Do you think that the methods in natural science can be applied to sociology? Give reason for your answer. See, examiner is scattering questions here and there deliberately from different chapters. Why do you think so? To test holistic understanding of the knowledge. Don't expect questions will come in the same order of chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. No. It is not degree exam, it is not academic exam. Deliberately he is scattering here and there some terms. But anyway, this is also first 2, 3. Which chapter? Can you make out? Scope, methods, natural science. Sociology as science. Correct only? And look at the part. Methods used in natural science can be applied to sociology. Give reason for your answer. Yes, some methods can be used, but not all the methods. Why? In natural sciences, it is testable. Social science also it is testable. Some principles. What else? In natural science, we can do experiment in lab, but in social science, you have to do experiment in field. In natural science, results will not change. In social science, results keep on changing based on interpretation. But some principles of natural science also can be used in social science. Methods can be used, testability can be used, reasonability can be used, logic can be understood, cause and effect, multi-causal explanation. Don't explain something only from one cause. So some of the methods of science is used in social science also, but not all the methods. The reason being that is in lab, this is in society. So apart from that, look at again. What do you understand by gender-based domestic division of labor? Is it undergoing a change in the wake of increasing participation of women in formal employment? Clarify your answer with illustrations, 20 marks. Current affairs static combination question. The lesson that you have to learn is current affairs combined with static. See why this question was asked. In periodic labor force survey, percentage of women who are participating in formal employment increased from 21% to 31% in the last 10 years. Did you understand reason why it was asked? In current affairs, there was something called periodic labor force survey. In that, the female labor force participation got increased from 21 to 31%. Meaning, this was the current affairs part. Second part of the question is that. First part of the question, gender-based domestic division of labor. In home, when there is a division of labor, gender-based domestic, what does it mean? Cooking is supposed to be done by whom? Gender-based. Taking care of the children, emotional roles, pink collar jobs, care economy. Hope so you're understanding what I'm saying. We covered this. Work and economic life chapter, we covered this. Care economy, creche facilities. So men do not want to do this work. Why they don't want to do this work? Because they feel that it's not for male, it is for female. Gender specific division of labor exists even right now. Look at most of the homes, who will cook? But look at the hotels and big restaurants, who are the chefs? So male you is not accepting women. So why only housewife? Why not house husband? Even though there are so many men willing to, no woman is ready. So gender specific division of labor exists even right now. Apart from that, you can quote what are the reasons why female labor force participation is increasing? Work from home facility, internet, flexible working conditions, social mobility restrictions are low to women compared to earlier. Good ecosystem for women. They can work from anywhere else in the world right now. So all these are reasons, and more important, double income families are increasing. DIG families, because its men is also earning, woman is also earning. So this is static and current affairs combined question. So maybe you can expect like this also in future. So next, how can you assess the significance of social movement in digital era? Explain. Now interesting, this came from a chapter called Social Movement as Instrument of Social Change. Remember Me Too movement? Me Too movement, She Too movement. And not only Me Too movement is there, dear. I Too movement also is there, He Too movement also is there. Remember any idea? Hashtag social media. So what is the role of social movement in digital era? So digital era and social media can be used to spread social movement much faster. Collective consciousness, much. See, social media can be used for good also, social media can be used for bad also. Recent example, Vote Chori movement. Vote Chori movement is a social movement according to socialist. So what are the various methods in which they are mobilizing the people? Online, digital. So biggest social media movement in the recent times, if you are following, vote for Note. No. No. Participation of creating awareness about people to participate more in the democracy. So schools, colleges, universities, everywhere, Election Commission conducted a campaign through digital modes. Your vote will decide your future. So please come and vote. Increasing turnover of the students in elections is because of digital campaign. Apart from that, social movement means group of people are trying to bring a change. Remember, caste movements, peasant movements, all other social movements only. And against social evils also, against sati, untouchability, but they're talking about in the digital era. Social movement will happen in society, but the form and the structure and the nature will change according to changing times. Now see, all men are forming as an association, National Commission for Men, to protect their own rights. No, it's not a social movement. Why it's not a social movement? Nobody is accepting it. So in the recent times, farmers movement, can you quote? Farm laws? Farm laws you can quote. So farm laws, and farmers have been asking for legal support for minimum support price. Support is there in social media, not only in domestic social media but also in global social media. Somebody has tweeted, Prime Minister, please Honorable Prime Minister, look into this issue. Yes? So what does it mean? There are so many examples in the modern day. Social movements are still continuing, but the form and the nature and the strength is different in terms of, and right to internet, heard about it? Internet shutdowns also. Why do you think government imposed restrictions on internet to shut down? To suppress certain social movements. To suppress certain social movements. When Article 370 is abrogated, there were so many incidents where internet shutdown was imposed. But we cannot say to suppress. Social media was also misused. Hate speech. That's the reason why. So Garv Apsi. You can quote any relevant example to tell the examiner that I have understood your question. Okay. So then, what is sampling in the context of social research? So many questions this year from social research. Discuss different forms of sampling with the relative advantage and disadvantage. So while you are cooking rice, how do you know rice is cooked or not? By taking small sample. Sample refers to selective representative of the study. So sample should be representative, sample should not be biased, sample should be reasonably selected, sample should be representing collective identity, sample should be realistic, sample should not be favorable, and samples should be in a position to tell overall. So if sample is good, data will be good, testability will be good, reliability will be good. So example, you can say negative impact of COVID-19 vaccine. You are doing a sociological research. So what should be the sample? Those who have taken vaccine should be the sample. Correct only? Positives, negatives, list out, bring out them in order. So advantages also, disadvantages also. What are disadvantages? What are disadvantages? If sample is biased, if sample is not representative, data also will not be realistic. So in fact, selecting of the sample itself will involve values and neutrality. So sample should be identified properly after evaluation of positives, negatives for the sociological research. So in India, among men, mental health problems are increasing. That is our sociological research. Because of whom? No, definitely not. I did not say. See, I never said because of women. No, I never said. No, we have to understand why mental health issues are increasing for the men. Political problem, financial problem, economic problem, domestic violence problem, mental problem, sentimental problem, heart problem, so liver problem, lover problem. So sociological sampling and research will become either genuine or not. You can take any one case study, you can tell sample should be correct or not. Now, should we increase the age or decrease the age for UPSC? Age limit, should we increase or should we decrease? That's a sociological research. So who's supposed to be the sample? So you can give an example. So, or maybe should we completely remove the competitive exams and should we select the civil servants through lottery? So you can quote, that is about sampling. So your answer should become a sample to the examiner. So whenever he is looking other answers, he should keep your answer first. Did you understand? Your answer should become a sample such a way that he should always keep your answer aside and then he should correct. So that your answer will become correct sample. So next, right? How do theories of Marx, Weber and Durkheim differ in understanding religion? 20 marks. So comparative study. Comparative study of the thinkers. So look at, Marx says religion is opium of masses. So Marx is looking at religion is used by the haves for exploitation, and to explain the exploitation religion is used. So soul of soulless, remember the quotes? Again, heart of heartless. So what is Weber's perception about religion? How religion ensures unity? How social action is guided by religion? Value consensus, value neutrality. How religion is used in social action? Traditions, beliefs, customs, practices, positives, all is reinforced through religion in the form of social action. Fear of sin, worship of God. So you should follow morals, all this. Now what is Durkheim's explanation of religion? I told you already, religion is social fact. No, Durkheim. How Durkheim explains social fact only? I think so, social fact only. Yes dear, what is social fact? External, sui generis, independent, generality. So list out all what Marx said about religion, what Weber said about religion, what Durkheim said about religion. Probably 5-6 core points of the theory, it becomes answer. But how do we know whose theory is correct? Comparative study. All theories will help in understanding the religion from different dimensions. One from conflict dimension, one from holistic dimension, one from individual dimension, one is collectively. So in conclusion we'll write, comparative study of religion of all the thinkers will help in understanding holistic understanding of religion, so that we can understand religion in a better manner. So which means, what is the moral that you have to learn from this? Be ready for comparative questions on the thinkers. Maybe next year they can ask. So do comparative study of maybe deviance. So who all told about deviance? Again, so make comparative study of power and authority. Make comparative study of anami in the society. So comparative study can be on anything. So whenever you read about one micro topic of the thinker, be ready to analyze with other thinker also. List out all their core areas, their work, their research and examples. Try to quote from global perspective also, Indian perspective also. That becomes sociology answer. Next, what is the nature of relationship between science and religion in modern society? Analyze with suitable examples. With little bit, even if you are not prepared, but whatever already we know about the thinkers, you can write the answer. I told you one quotation. Religion does not need science. Science does not need religion. But man needs both of them. That's all. Once you read the line, examiner is impressed with your answer. He loves and he hugs answer sheet. Then you have to give the interface. How is religion is influencing science? How is science is influencing religion? So you can quote our ISRO scientists breaking coconuts, doing puja. Science will promote questioning, scientific temper. Religion promotes some kind of belief, but that belief is not questioned, belief is not tested, belief is passed on from tradition to tradition. So when it is countered with science, so science is offering more explanation compared to traditional religious belief system. You can explain karma theory, fate theory, soul theory and so on. In fact, sociological thinkers' perspective also can be used. social evils are explained, social evils are legalized, social evils are accepted with religious beliefs and traditions, but they are challenged by science. So like, you were born in a poor family because of karma that you have done in the previous janma. Some religious explanation of karma theory. But what is scientific explanation? You are not working hard, you are not improving your skills, that's the reason why you are poor. Okay? Again, Indian society is still largely using Ayush. Remember Ayush medicines? You can bring in. Still in India, institutional deliveries are not happening. Women are still reliant on this superstitious methods only. Mantrasani, Mantragatte, and in some tribe, they just leave the baby and the mother in a secluded place and nobody will interfere at the time of the delivery because of their superstitious belief that at that time their goddess is actually transferring soul to them. Nobody should provide them, nobody should come in rescue of them. It exists even right now. It exists even right now in Indian society. We are talking about Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, but still it exists. So opposite, scientific temper. So relatively scientific temper is questioning. Overview, scientific temper is talking about question with rationality, ask why also, don't always follow blindly, all that. If God exists in each and atom of the universe, why should we go to temple or worship? If God created everybody equal, then why inequality exists in the society? Who is God? God did not create man. Man belief created God. Correct only? So ultimately God is present in a human being in the form of good. So it is how you look at. So in a human being also God is there, Daman is there, human being is there. So religion, give the examples. Science, give the example. Balanced answer. Some explanations given by science is not able to satisfy. That's the reason why we seek the answers in the religion. Science said this fellow will die within 7 days. After 7 days, he is dancing in Ganesh immersion. So science was not able to holistically diagnose. But who rescued? That Tayattu from that mandir rescued. Still, we believe it. So many people are using religion for strength. So many people are using religion for courage. So many people are using religion for immediate solace to emotional questions which they are seeking. Spiritual tourism is increasing in India. What is spiritual tourism? Foreign people are coming after achieving so much of prosperity. Why, sir? Their science is not able to explain their questions. But Indian spirituality and spiritual masters are able to explain. That's why Babas are becoming popular. Why Sociology Baba Limited. So maybe in future, nothing to worry. Then look at what do you understand by sustainable development? Discuss the elements of sustainable development as proposed in UNDP Sustainable Development Goals Report 2015. Question seems to be sustainable development only, but try to explain from thinker's perspective. I told you already, thesis, antithesis, synthesis, global warming, climate change, eradication of poverty, eradication of hunger, access to infrastructure, purified drinking water. Try to take example from global perspective as well as Indian perspective. Clean energy, renewable energy, solar energy, electric mobility. So slowly you can tell sustainable development is the result of constant change in the society. So how social change is happening? Population is increasing, resources are limited, so stress is created. In the process, thesis, antithesis and synthesis, some new methods are evolved. So in the process, sustainable development is a continuous process. If you remember, sustainable development goals, no need to write all 17 goals, but you can list out important sustainable development goals. So Bretton Woods Conference, Ecology Environment Value Study, Bretton Woods Conference, Sustainable Development, so Sustainable Agenda Framework, UNFCCC, Framework Climate Change. But we will try to make it sociological answer by taking examples of thinkers. So class struggle, similarly idea struggle. Class struggle of Karl Marx, similarly idea struggle of Hegel. Correct only? Idea, opposite idea. So we are explaining sustainable development by using thinker's perspective so that it becomes sociology answer. Same question came in second paper. Also, we'll see. Look at how do civil society organizations such as NGOs, self-help groups, contribute to grassroots level social change. Instrument of social change, not the government, but non-governmental organizations. Where government is not able to do, they are providing wonderful social service, accessibility, availability, grassroots social service, education, adoption of the villages, empowerment. But some of the NGOs are also used in religious conversion process. But anyway, question is about positive as social change. Look at what Christian missionaries have done to Indian society after India's independence. Positive also are there? Yes. Now also look at so many social NGOs. Any NGOs that comes to your mind? Seva, Self-Employed Women Association. What else? Akshay Patra, Ramakrishna Math. Ramakrishna Math is also NGO only. So to give little bit economy knowledge. So in Indian stock market we started something called social stock exchange, where funds can be raised to NGOs and charitable trust. Zero principal, zero interest coupon. Means you are donating. PM Cares also heard about it. And Red Cross Society. So many religious organizations also are there. Even though they are religious, they are secular in social service. Kerala Wayanad floods, crowdfunding. So all that we can quote. So relatively easy question only. Again, question came from instrument of social change. So apart from that, if you look at, in what way does the queer kinship challenge the traditional kinship system? Give illustrations. Now what is the meaning of kinship? A person's relationship with the associated people. So a person can become part of the family through marriage, through adoption also. So how did you become part of your family? Because you are born in that family. By birth you became. So your brother got married to somebody else. How they became part? So queer theory, remember, if you just know the terminology, you can answer. Queer theory is talking about LGBT+. Did you understand what is the meaning of queer theory? Queer theory means choosing relationship not among heterogeneous but among homogeneous sex. What is the meaning of homogeneous sex? LGBT only. So queer kinship means what? Families, relationships associated with LGBT is called as queer kinship. Understood the meaning of the question? Associated relationship with LGBT is called as queer kinship. What is traditional heterogeneous marriages? So we have to find out mutual support, care. So now they have their own associations. Now they have their own support system. So slowly we are accepting it. But traditional kinship is well recognized. Traditional kinship is very well organized, legally accepted, socially respected, accessibility is available. But queer kinship is still evolving in the Indian society. Why not everybody is accepting? Social stigma is attached with queer relationship. Not so easily they are accepting. And not so easily openly they can go and roam in the society. Also support system is not available well for LGBT queer kinships. See what is the meaning of this? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, QET, LGBTQ, queer theory. So those who are associated with these relationships compare with traditional relationships. So Indian society is still not yet advanced. So if you look at family, marriage, romance, comfort, safety, association, bonding, children, all this will come in queer theory as well as traditional theory. Because section 377 IPC judgment also you can quote. Yes. So apart from that, some families in India are having queer kinship, but it's beyond biology. Community support is missing. Norms are challenging. Social stigma is attached even right now. All that. So this is about paper 1. So have patience. Have patience. See, don't worry, I will not give the answers for paper 2. Only just look at the question from which chapter it came from. Nothing to worry. So don't worry, I will not explain all of them, just to understand. Textual perspective is important in understanding of Indian social system. So actually in paper 2, there is something called Indology. What is the meaning of Indology, dear? Study of Indian text. So origin for caste system came from some Sukta, Purusha Sukta only? Purusha Sukta or some? Okay, Purusharthas. Also some Indian traditional text talks about Brahmins came from head, something like that. Understand text explanations also to understand social system. Understand text explanations also to understand social system, caste, hierarchy, power, so religious belief, traditions, all that. In fact, archaeology, Vastu Shastra, Puravastu, Yagna, Yoga, all these are mentioned in clearly in some of the Indian texts. But Indian texts are known for combining traditional knowledge with mythology. That's the reason why we are not able to find out the originality. Anyway, justify the Indian traditions or modernizing. Also discuss its contributing factors. Simple logic, modernization of Indian tradition. Direct question. Modernization of Indian tradition. Food habit, dress habit, culture, marriage, kinship, religion, region, caste, gender, family. One line from one. How it is being modernized. So apart from that, according to you, which social reform movement has played the most effective role in uplifting status of women? Explain. Abolition of sati? Abolition of sati? Widow Remarriage Act? Women education? So most significant again. So explain, take one and try to explain. Take one. Can you quote recent Sabarimala incident also? Status of women, biological reason, all that. How did colonial policies for the tribes affected their socio-economic conditions in India? So remember, question is from tribal revolt. Question is from tribal revolt. Reasons why socio-economic conditions were influenced by British colonial policies. Even in minor forest produce also they collected. They told them that this is not your land, this is our land. Land titling was not there. Poor tribals' work was exploited by the British, and tribals were used by the British for their own vested interest, economic exploitation, social exploitation. They tried to interfere in their religious beliefs also. They tried to stop their festivals also. They tried to challenge their dress habit also, food habits also. So all that. Then how would you appropriate to characterize G.S. Gurye as a practitioner of theoretical pluralism? Directly question is picked up from Indological perspective of G.S. Gurye. Pluralism means try to explain not from one, explain from multiple dimensions. So anyway, we will cover, we did not cover till, we did not start this. Do you think that in society like India, orthogenetic changes take place through differentiation? Do you observe continues in the orthogenic process? Elaborate your answers with suitable examples. Again, in second paper, if you look at, one of the chapter is called as change in society can be observed from various dimensions. One of the dimensions is this. So there we are going to cover, but not difficult question. We just have to mention briefly what is the reason, what is orthogenic change, causes, all that. Second paper still we did not touch. Then agrarian class structure has been undergoing changes due to modern forces. Critically examine. Means associated class with the land is called as agrarian class structure. How before independence came? After independence, land reforms, abolition of Raitwari, Jamindari, Malwari, recent changes that happened in ownership, title act, title deed, land record modernization, and the present impact of that on Indian society. Apart from that, how same-sex marriages are responsible for population dynamics in India? Look at paper 1 they asked queer theory, paper 2 they are asking examine the same-sex marriage on Indian population. Heard about 3-parent babies? Not 2-parent babies, 3-parent babies. So population dynamics, which means if same-sex marriages happens, how will they plan the children? How will they plan the family? What is impact on population? You have to quote TFR rate. Remember TFR rate, total fertility rate. So existing LGBT system, what are the accessibility of the technologies available for them? How population dynamics will change? Meaning, will it increase? Will it decrease? Will they go for child? If they go for child, how will they plan? What is the impact? But on population specifically. This is demography question. In demography, you are going to study this. What do you mean by nation building? What is the role of religion in nation building? Elaborate your answer. Collective consciousness that we belong to this country is called as nation. Every religion is saying, every religion promotes welfare of other being, universal brotherhood, respect fellow human being, love thy neighbor, help ever, hurt never. So be good, do good, see good. All these essence of religion in nation building. Then, do you think that new economic reforms of British rule have disrupted the old economic system of India? Substantiate your answer with suitable example. See, this is actually colonial impact of British. Impact of colonial rule, especially talking about economic policies, land revenue system, tax collecting system, also imposition, so also introduction of Jamindari, Raitwari, Mahalwari, all that. Then describe the main features of Indian new middle class. How is it different from old middle class? Don't worry, we'll stop. So just to understand only. Urban class, rich class, poor class, middle class. There is no standard definition of class. It is very well defined. But during British time, those who got English education system, they emerged as middle class. After 1919 economic reforms, those who got jobs in service sector, the people who got shifted towards from primary to secondary to service sector, new middle class is emerging. In the middle class also, elite middle class is there now. High net worth individuals, highly paying, highly specialized. So reasons also, globalization, liberalization, privatization, reforms, infrastructure, all that. Then who is said to be the pioneer of village studies in India? So we are going to study M.N. Srinivas, Andre Bettely, village studies, how village helps. Village is self-sufficient republic. You can study all changes in village, political change, economic change, social change, all that. Apart from that, industrial class structure, kinship. Briefly explain Murdoch's contribution to the study of the kinship system. See, this is specifically about in India, how kinship systems are studied. North India, South India, East India, West India, lineage, Varna, Gotra, clan system, caste, jati, subcaste, marriage alliance, all that. So specific to India only. I'll just list out only questions, don't worry. Transfer of land from cultivating to non-cultivating, land reforms. Bring out various factors responsible for declining of village industries, deindustrialization. Discuss social basis of political mobilization in independent India. Has some change occurred in these during the last 60 to 70 years? Yes. Political mobilization on caste, color, gender, region, religion. So many political mobilizations happened. A party which had 2 seats in MPs became the ruler through religious mobilization. Caste mobilization is still used, regional mobilization is still used, identity based politics are going on, so all that. What are the major problems faced by labor migrants while working in informal sectors of Indian states? Again, Supreme Court recently asked Food Corporation of India and government, why are you wasting so many food grains simply rotten in the godowns? Why don't you give it freely to migrant laborers? There is one scheme called One Nation, One Ration Card, Mera Ration mobile app. So that's the current affairs. That's the reason why question came. What are the major problems faced by labor migrants? So they are neither recognized in home state nor home state. That's why he's rem postal. One nation, one ration card. One nation, one ration card. Recently government is thinking social security for them also. So accidental, it's in case of accident, in case of some disability, insurance should be provided. So that is that. Do you think the law has been able to abolish child labor in India? Comment. This we covered in detail. Remember industrialization urbanization chapter? Child labor is abolished on paper but not in reality. So, Bachpan Bachao Andolan, Kailash Satyarthi. We have written so many quotes. Child should go to school but not use a tool. Child hand should be used to study but not to work. And so many quotations I have written. Today children are tomorrow's parents. No, tomorrow's future. Tomorrow's future. Child labor, Article 23, Article 24. 24 only, abolition of child labor? 24 only, abolition of child labor. So child labor exists in different from definition. Shivaganga, if you remember, firecrackers. Shivakashi, Shivaganga. So Shivakasi, then government, Supreme Court guidelines with respect to child labor. Children are recruited in mica exploration also, beauty, cosmetics, industry. We have covered. Detail also we have covered. Industrialization, urbanization. Rat hole mining also. And children as domestic help. All that. So after that, discuss the trend of urbanization. Before that, yes. In what respect have constitutional provision changed the socio-economic and political conditions of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in India? welfare policy measures taken for SCs and STs. So Constitution Commissions are there, NCST, NCSC, so reservation, employment opportunities, scholarship, so all that, social mobility, easy only. Discuss trend of urbanization, this we covered, industrialization, urbanization. What measures would you suggest for preventing caste conflicts in India? Justify the argument. If you are following newspapers in Tamil Nadu, caste conflict once again came up. That's the reason why question came about caste system. Even when somebody goes to have a tea in tea shop, first they are asking tea and then they are selecting the tumbler. And Rajasthan, a kid was not allowed to drink water from a pot because he was from lower caste. So because of this event only question was asked. Apart from that, what are the private and public network support systems operative in India for the aged people? See, this is question about a current affairs called silver economy. Silver economy is about dealing with old age people, providing care economy for old age people. So this is about them. Educational development is the only panacea for country's all evils, and critically examine the above statement with reference to new education policy. Education as agent of change, but reference to new education policy. Skill-based education, no rote learning. So give the child as much time as possible. Exams should not be conducted. Let the child learn in whatever they want. So all this. Unfortunately, we missed out. How Dalit movement in India have facilitated identity formation? There are so many Dalit movements. Remember, any one or two? Paper 2 separate chapter is there. Temple entry movement, SNDP, Sriman Narayan Dharma Palipalana Yogam. So Periyar Naikar. So many are there. Dalit consciousness. Is it possible to have sustainable development in India? Wow. Give major environmental issues and suggest a few measures to achieve the sustainability. But second paper, they focused on environmental problems in India for which sustainable development solutions. Pollution, sustainable development. Urban floods, sustainable development. Water crisis, sustainable development. Specific to Indian society. Food crisis, sustainable development. Then, do you think the forced displacement of laborers has caused their deprivation, resulted in inequalities during recent past? See, this is because wherever construction of dams are going on, forcible displacement of their LARR, land acquisition, rehabilitation, resettlement. With reference to that, we are not paying them what we are supposed to pay them. And also, after they're displaced, we are not providing them what's supposed to be given to them. That's the focus. What are Indian government schemes launched for poverty alleviation after UNDP? Meaning, one of the UNDP sustainable development goals is eradication of poverty by 2030. So poverty eradication programs in India, poverty, absolute poverty, relative poverty, MG Narega, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program, National Rural Livelihood Mission, Ministry of Jal Shakti Jal Jeevan Mission, Pura, providing urban facilities in rural areas, Bharat Nirman. So whatever rural schemes if you remember, fine. See, nothing to worry. It's not to test our knowledge, it's not to test our all this, but just to understand how questions are being asked, what lessons you have to learn. Lessons is that for every subheading and heading, you should have some 1.5 page notes in your class notes. If it is a 10 marker question, we will write only that. If it is a 20 marker question, each subheading you will explain. And in paper 1 while writing, for every question, try to use thinker's perspective to make it a sociological answer. Okay? See, without even covering the syllabus only, you are able to tell the answer. Imagine after covering the syllabus, again I am going to explain. This we are going to cover in the last class also. After completing all the syllabus, again we are going to cover paper 1, paper 2 answers, so we will get a better answer. But relatively easy only, nothing to worry. Tomorrow I will start stratification and mobility. Okay? Thank you.